well, welcome to another episode of Coffee by the River. We have Mr. Alvaro Gonzalez with us today,
Hello.
who is a lineman here at Central. So let's just go back a little recap on your career, like when you came, how you came about coming to FPL, and the different places you've been before you wound up here at Central.
So I ended up in, I had gone to college. I had gone to ITT for tradesmanship as an electrical engineer, tech, and I joined Lucent Technologies. And after 10 months of working there, I lost my job to a massive layoff. And then one of my friends that worked here was like, hey, you need a job? And I was like, yep. And then I got hired on in 2001, started in meter reading for 2 years. And then I did 2 years in customer service, and then finally transitioned over to union side. In February of 2005, went to the climbing school and ended up here.
2 years of meter reading. What was that like?
Awesome.
I mean, I can
It was
only
crazy.
can only imagine what that
The
was
ways
like.
that you had to invent to read a meter with the freaking binoculars and like be like so far from a meter and like lay down like army style and just like in the bushes and make sure that the leaf would pass by, and then you'd catch that reading and make sure that the reading went in correctly into the handheld. But yeah, we would lean against like fences, and it was crazy because we had the double one and then we had the monoscope. And the monoscope read further, but you could read like a good 400, 500 feet away. Because by the time you train and you practice, you learn how to read the meters because they were the dials.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a good time. It was back then when we used to wear cargo shorts, put lunch in our pockets, and drink out of the water hoses.
Oh, nice. Nice.
It was good times.
And how would you deal with the dogs?
So we had the umbrellas back then and pepper spray. And sometimes you would go in there and misread the instructions and go in there and it said bad dog, but you just like skipped it and didn't read it, and you go inside and that dog comes running out. So in the umbrella, you would pop it out so it would look like a big black shield. So the dog would either get scared or they'd attack you and they tear it up and you just have to run for your life. Those were the good times, man, honestly. Such a good time.
Different
and
days.
The pepper spray, you would spray it at them so you had enough time to run away, but sometimes the wind would catch it and put it back in your face. So now you and the dog are choking in the backyard. Yeah, there's some mean dogs out there.
Cool. And then what was the next adventure?
Then I went to the customer service, the phone board. It was at the LFO. It was like 400 of us back then. And it was a good time too. I wasn't good at it at all.
No?
I needed to get out of there fast because I was going to lose my job. So when this opportunity came over, I was ready to get out, and everybody knew that I was ready to go.
So between the meter reading, what was one of the weirdest scenarios you found yourself in reading meters?
I'll never forget it because I had read an address. Coincidentally, the house number matched my thing, but I had gone around the block the wrong way. So what it was an added route to my regular route. And when I went in, it had said, in the computer, it had said K9 police dogs. And I never read that. It was the wrong house, right? So then when I went in, I read the meter. I saw one K9 sleeping by the meter, and then the other one wasn't there. And then when the other one came around, he like stopped, and I like ran out of there, and I jumped a fence and got out, and I dropped my glasses. I had just got glasses. So then the customer called our boss irate. Like, how is it that you come in here? You know, it's so dangerous. He could have got killed or something. So my boss called me in and was like, hey, were you at this yard? And I was like, yeah, John. Like, I didn't realize the address and I didn't see the notes. And he's like, you almost got killed. You're a lucky guy. You survived today, but you got to pay more attention. And the guy had brought the glasses back to the office. I almost died that day. Yeah, I was close.
That's good. So what was your first day like coming to this side?
My first job was with Sam Gomez, but he was on a job. And Doug Sawyer picked me up and he's like, hey, why don't you come ride with me? So we go over there to the 8th Street and 27th Avenue Home Depot. And he's like, stand right there. He knew it was a bad TX. He had just turned it in. And he put a 1.5 amp fuse into that barrel. And when he threw it in, Man, I ran so far. I never looked back. I just
First
ran.
day.
First day, I ran and ran and ran. And the guy's cracking up, and he's like, "This is your future." And I was like, "What am I signing up to?"
Exactly.
And then I met Sam, and my first day here, I worked like 19 hours straight, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like what are we doing? I'm never gonna go home." Sam the bull that never wanted to go home either.
Oh my goodness.
Just working crazy hours, and I worked with him for like 6 months, and every day it was like 19, 24 hours over and over and over.
Sammy the Bull.
And the apprenticeship was way different back then. It was tough. It was tough. The leadership was older generation of gentlemen that made you earn everything. And the teaching was tough, and they would tell you one way, and that was the way. It was just get it. You get to a job, and it was you. It was all you. They would tell you how to do it, and you had to go get all your material, grab all the tools necessary for the job. Make sure you had everything, because if you didn't have it, you're climbing back down, go get it, go back up. Going up and climbing down and going back up, it's tiring. It's tiring after being on the pole. I mean, back there in those days, like, you didn't come down for anything. You had to eat lunch, they'd send it to you up on the hand line.
Right.
And you just worked 4, 5, 6 hours on a pole, transfers, and it was hard.
So, you being on the service truck and you have serviceman B's with you, that's a challenge in itself. So, I mean, tell us a little bit how you go about mitigating your day.
The service truck is the first part of being an apprentice.
It's the taste.
It's the taste, and it's the learning the basics. And now I got to teach all these guys that come off the streets that have never nothing. They've never mechanically inclined. They have no
Right.
idea what's going on. They've never raised the ladder. They don't know how to spin a wrench. They don't know how a ratchet cutter works.
I mean, it's a lot.
You really won't know till you come and ride that truck.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure it's probably a lot busier than I want to be for the day, I'm sure.
Oh man, it's a lot of work. But you'll be impressed. Like, nobody knows the only guys that really understand how my truck runs is the guys that come and work on it. And at the end of the day, yeah, I'm tough. I ain't gonna lie. I'm so tough on these guys, but it's just because I don't want to see them get hurt. They still got a whole career ahead of them, and it would suck to get hurt at such an early stage in your life. And but it's a hard work. It's a lot of work, and I come in here happy, and sometimes they stress me out. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, whatever. They'll learn. They'll figure it out. My own guys have to like talk me down sometimes because I get frustrated. My fuse is like big, and
Right.
it goes quick. But no, they get it, and from day one I let them know. Listen, I may curse at you, I may yell at you, I'm gonna throw things, I'm gonna be mad, but it's all for your best interest.
Tough love.
Tough love. And at the end of the day, you know what these guys tell me all the time? They're about to do something that they just can hear me in the back going, Alvaro said, and then they don't do it, which is good. And that's how I got brought up too. And
Right.
to this day, I'm already 20 years in the trade, and I could still remember those guys, like if it was yesterday, of some dumb thing that I did, and I could still remember today not to do it.
Right.
With that tough love that I got back then. I made this coffee, everybody, because
That's some
I am
good
the
coffee.
one of the top guys that makes the best Cuban coffee at Central. I ain't gonna lie. That's good coffee. I did well.
Oh, you did good.
Tastes good.
So, since you've been in the trade, what was one thing that stuck out in your mind like, man, this is some serious shit? You can get hurt doing this.
Well, I mean, I did have one time a transformer bank blow up on me, and actually my PPE saved me from burning my stomach, but that's when I realized that this was dangerous.
It's for real.
Yeah, this is for real. That day, well, that was on a Monday. On a Tuesday, I stayed home all day. I sat on my couch all day, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Is this really what I'm getting into?
Right.
I was scared. I was trying to think of everything that happened that day, how it just in 1 second, everything changed. The whole scenario just went to like boom. And then the next day I had another thing happen to me. So on a Monday and a Wednesday, I had 2 bad episodes that the foreman that I was with had been here 35 years and had never seen that.
Right.
And it happened to us, and it was just so. And they weren't even mistakes. They were not mistakes at all. They were freak accidents.
Sometimes things happen.
Things happen, and you gotta be ready to prepare for the worst. And on the worst, like the first one, I mean, I had to get out of the fire, and I had to make a decision: either I keep getting burned by oil, or I come down into to safety, right? And on the third one was, I got into a position where I had to hold the shotgun and the position of the switch for so long till Miami was able to drop the feeder. But it was, if I didn't stay there, concentrate, saying, if I let go now, it's going to be bad.
It's going to be a big ball of fire.
Yeah, it's going to be a big ball of fire. So those were 2 back-to-back scenarios that were the most eye-opening to me ever, because I was scared. I was literally scared. It was, I came home, and the next day I had so that was on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I came in, I had a switching order. And I had that stick. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. And the foreman is like, you have to open it. You can't just tap it the whole night. You gotta make the initial move.
I think sometimes we forget how much faith we put in our equipment.
Yeah.
You know, without even the thought of it, really.
Yeah, because that I think it felt like at that moment, it was probably like a minute or so. I don't know. I would have to ask the other person, but it felt forever.
Felt like forever.
Forever being there, and it was maybe no shorter time.
Right.
But just when I came down and I looked at the scenario after, like my tool bucket was melted, gone.
Good
I still
God.
have my lineman wrench there that it's melted. I still have it just to remind me. And my shirt had shriveled up all the way up to here. You know, like my hard hat was black, my stick was black, the truck was black. It was just so much fire.
Wow.
So much fire. And it just happened. It's happened so fast. But it was that was a long time ago.
I mean, those things help build you what you are today too.
No, and that's why
It's the journey.
It's a journey, and also you just have to be able to visualize the job in your head. And if something goes wrong, know which way you're gonna go if something goes bad. Yeah, what am I gonna do? Which way is my escape route? Where's my exit at? So that's why I try to show these guys that, to try to visualize the job. Do the whole tailboard in your head. Okay,
Right.
I gotta go do this. I'm gonna do this. And so you have the process already. So when you're up there, you've already talked about it within yourself, and you advise it to somebody else, and they agreed, and then you go do it. They need to exercise what we're teaching. Because a lot of these guys come in and like, oh, I can't. They love that word, I can't. Have you tried it? No. And then
But I
they do it.
can't.
Right, but then they do it and they're like, oh, it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
But you have to try it.
Right.
Because then if it fails, then you know, okay, now I can't do it that way again.
And how do you get that point across to them? How do you help?
I yell.
Because you're dealing with, well, yelling works sometimes too, but even in the same sense, because it sticks with them even when you're not around.
Well, the thing is, like, honestly, like, what I do is I tell them to, like, hey, if you go over here, oh, I can't. You want me to go do up there and do the job, so I show you? And they're like, nah.
Oh, that'll
right?
get them.
Yeah, there's a process.
Alvaro boot camp. Well, it's a good thing. I think what they got here is something they're not going to get in other places, for sure.
No, definitely not going to get in other places. I mean, what is that small bucket or the service crew does maybe 3,500 to 4,000 schmos a year.
That's crazy.
That's the average.
That's overwhelming.
That's overwhelming. That's like almost 50 jobs a week.
That's something.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed you're the first one out of the yard in the mornings too.
Oh, you got to beat that traffic. And there's people waiting. And I got 2 appointments every day that I got to go meet up with. And things go wrong. And then you have to be back by a certain time to reconnect them. In the beginning, it's just easier to get these guys. If you give them a gap where they can relax, then it's just harder to get them going in the morning.
Right.
But if you get them right in the morning out by 7:30, 7:40 out of the yard, and just get them going, and they know at my pace, there's no slowing down. There's no breaks until it's time to take a break.
Right.
And I know when it's time to take a break because I could see it in them,
Right.
or they're hungry and they start getting hangry. But nah, I like to get it. Let's get it.
Well, it was a pleasure having you. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule because you're hard to catch.
Definitely hard to catch.
Definitely hard to catch.
Catch me if you can. That's my motto on my truck. This is great. Thank you for making me come into this. It was good. I
Oh,
liked
that's
it.
good, man.